Metallica, when they took a day out of the studio from recording loads, to headline Donington Monsters of Rock last summer. And just a quick news about Donington 96, it's going to be a double headliner. Kiss and Ozzy Osbourne and Sepultura have also been added to the bill, all taking place on the 17th of August, and we'll be updating you as we get nearer to the great day. And as you can see, Kirk is still with me, no escape from the Metallica train. And a little earlier we saw the video, Kirk, for Until It Sleeps, and you've actually done a remix on that by Moby. Whose idea was that, and what did you think of the end result?
Well, we're always interested in having other artists reinterpret our material. There's this German band called Die Krupps that did a tribute to Metallica, and we really enjoyed that. And so I kind of like planted the seed for, that sort of thinking. And one day we were just sitting around, we were thinking about, new things for B-sides, and the idea came up of like getting someone to like remix every single that we put out. And originally we wanted to do the Chemical Brothers to remix this single, but they weren't available because we called them and like told them we needed it yesterday.
As you do.
Yeah, but they're busy doing something, so I suggested Moby, and he was already in New York. So what we ended up doing is sending him the tapes, and like the next day he brought us back this remix, and we really, really like it. Tear me open. Gives you a fresh perspective on the song, and I like it quite a bit. I think it's really heavy too.
I mean, like you said, there's so many new things going on, the new logo, the new image, the new photos. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But can I just get your perspective on the way you worked on this album, because how you came up with this kind of looser, kind of bluesier, you've used the word greasier feel. How did Bob Rock work under those circumstances?
Well, Bob was always interested in capturing the live essence of the band on vinyl, or actually on CD, and that was the concept that we shot for on the previous album, and we captured some of it, but not completely. And I feel on this album we definitely have, because live James and I are playing rhythm guitar simultaneously. And on previous albums, there's always James doing all the rhythms, so everything was like doubled really, really perfectly, and it gave it kind of a sterile kind of feel, and so we wanted to get away from that. So I played rhythm on this album, and that's more similar to the way we play live. It's both playing live, and that contributed to the live feel, and. Bob it was initially Bob's idea for us to do that. And, looking back, we all agreed that this is something we should have tried a long time ago. It just took us 14 years to get around to it. I like to say that there's a new guitar player in Metallica, and it's me.
That's great. I think that's really interesting. Thank you for telling us that. Okay, well, we have to go to our first short break, because I'm sure a tunnel's going to come along any minute and send us completely to black. So before that, we'll take our break, and then after our first short break, guess what? We've got loads more Metallica. So stick around. More talk of the album coming up after these messages. I want to ride my... Welcome back to Headbangers Ball. We're on board the Metallica train, and we're just pulling up in Florence now, and as you can see, there's a bit of a signing frenzy going on, but I've got Kirk here, and I just wanted to talk about the album artwork. It's taken from a photograph called Blood and Semen.
Semen and Blood.
Semen and Blood, let's get this right here.
It's called Semen and Blood 3.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Now, tell us a little bit about the photograph and why you chose it.
Well, it's not really considered a photograph. It's the artist likes to consider it as a piece of art, but it's by this guy named Andre Serrano, who who's done a few things in America and has gotten himself in trouble a few times in America for doing things like putting a crucifix in a big vat of piss and calling it Piss Christ. And I bought one of his books called Body and Soul, and I was flipping through the book, and I'd seen the picture, and I thought, wow, that's really beautiful. That would be great if we could use this as a front cover for our album. I showed it to this guy, and he loved it, and so we kind of like, sold it to the other guys. And what it is it's the artist's own semen and beef blood, and it's a picture of it. Yeah, it's very
Something a bit different to the Metallica album.
Yeah, well, it's like something we were looking for, a really strong sort of image, very beautiful, very abstract, something that tied in with the concept of the album, which is actually no concept at all. And we wanted something that people can look at and interpret in any different way. The good thing about this cover is you look at it and you go, wow, that's really great. I wonder what it is. And when you really find out what it is, it takes on an entirely different meaning. Yeah.
And of course, the album title, Load, that seems to have a lot of different connotations to different people. I mean, there's the obvious things, but there's possibly a sexual reference as well. I mean, like
that's the idea. Yeah, it's especially since the album's called Load. in American slang, shoot your load. I mean, it's just like But that wasn't intentional at all. That really had nothing to do with the picking of the title or our choice in using that piece of art. And so
who thought of Load? Because I think it actually works really well.
Yeah, actually, I think it was Lars's title, and so.
Well, I'll let you get back to your signing because there's a gentleman. Yeah, they are. So we'll be catching up with some more Metallica Train action in a few moments. But right now, we're going to say goodbye to one of Britain's top bands, The Almighty. They're releasing their very final signal from the album Just Add Life. This is The Almighty. Au revoir, amigos. Saying goodbye with Do You Understand? Well, it's pretty chaotic here on the Metallica Train. The fans have been listening to the new record, and now they, as you can see, get to meet the band.
Now they're leaving in hordes.
They have to get off at Florence, which is where we're pulling up to. So, Lars, if I can just corner you for a few minutes. Everything is so different on this album. The imagery, the logo, the photos of the band, and also the cover is so different to the Black Album. Now, has Metallica reinvented itself?
Well, it has only been half a decade since the last one.
This is true.
All right. So I don't know. I just looked at some of these things and it's got a little bored with them. One day I was looking at the logo, going, "This is kind of boring. Maybe we should try something else."
Maybe we should have tried that. Turn in
What's that from?
letters sideways.
Why did we get that before?
Yeah, that's
Just
we someone's
always
fired. Someone's fired.
So it was just time to oh, you want that back? It was time to try a few different things. I think the most dangerous thing a band can do is become totally stagnant.
You become a parody of yourself, don't you?
Yeah, I just think that that you should always follow your instincts, follow your gut feelings, and just. I looked at the logo and I called up James and said, "Why don't we try and see what would happen if we put a new logo together?" It was a decision that took literally 3 minutes or something. It was not like, "Oh, we're screwing with this holy icon," or whatever, like people are now starting to react to. But the point is that we have the power to change these things, and we need to do it for ourselves once in a while to kind of
Keep things fresh.
Keep things fresh for us. And I do believe that when it's fresh for us and it's more exciting for us than for everybody else, that kind of attitude translates onto the fans really well.
Now, the album is out on Monday in Europe, and we've only heard Until It Sleeps via the video. So what do you think is going to surprise fans most about the album? Because people have been saying that you've been saying that the kind of metal side of things has been pushed back a little bit.
Well, I'm realizing now that, I've lived with the record for almost 3 weeks, and I can definitely hear that the metal staccato guitars and stuff like that obviously aren't there anymore. But I think that the record itself, is still really heavy. I think it's a lot heavier than the Black Album. I think the most thing that's going to surprise people is the consistency of the record, It's an hour and 20 minutes long. I don't think it ever really dips anywhere. When I hear the Black Album now, there's a couple places where I thought it dipped a little bit. And so I think people, especially if they're gauging Until It Sleeps as, you know, sort of like, okay, this is what the new record it's like. I mean, that's just, I mean, let's not bullshit each other here. You put singles out, you know, you want to put a single out that would indicate something different, and obviously a song that, you know, it's a good single. I mean, that's why you put singles out. But I mean, the rest of the record is pretty different than that. Take my word for it.
No, I agree, and it is heavy, and perhaps in a different way. And also, of course, the lyrics are very heavy as well. But we'll talk about those a bit later on. Right. Okay, well, we're heading off to the station right now to meet some more Metallica fans, but we have to go to our next break. After the break, we're going to also be checking out the new video from Sabotage, so watch out for that, and loads more Metallica coming up after these messages.
The Turned On Eurobus is coming to your town. MTV wants to know who you are and what you're passionate about.